We got NFL is here.
We're back, baby.
It's back, so everybody's fantasy draft should have been completed by now. If not, then you have the rest of the
Man, I
week.
had
Or you
three of
have,
them on Sunday night. That was
yeah.
that was a that was a long 3 hours, I have to say.
So if you haven't done your fantasy football, get to it. Get to it quickly because the season starts on Thursday with the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. So we do have. So we're going to talk about Sunday's matchups because I know that and Nas may talk about it. We might talk about it on Friday with Nas on a little bit about Sunday's matchups too. But we'll have a little more understanding. We'll have two games, or we'll have a game already done by then, and we'll know what it'll look like by the defending champs too. So, um, yeah, if you haven't done your fantasy football stuff, get to it because you have till Thursday to pretty much do it. I had a draft last night with the Utah Jazz and our coworkers over there.
We had our
Had,
Hawk Talk draft on
yep,
Sunday.
and then we
I
had
gotta pull
a.
up my team again. How are you feeling about yours?
I'm really confident in my team. I feel really good. I will say that having the 10th pick and what I've got, I'm very actually pleased with. I can't really complain about that. My first pick, I had the 10th pick. I had to take Ashton Genty, which was,
I mean,
I
that's
was,
fair.
I had to.
There's a lot of upside there for him for sure. I was able to
He's gonna get a lot
snag.
of carries because of Marshawn Lynch and what he did with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's gonna use him a lot, and he can catch out of the backfield too. So that was a big pickup for me. I wanted
I,
CeeDee Lamb badly, but he wasn't gonna drop to 10.
I
Um,
got CD in two of my four leagues. I got JJ in three of my four leagues, and it's purely just based off draft slot that I was in. I had the sixth pick in three different leagues.
I got George Pickens later on in the rounds, so I had got a really good backup. I will say that. But my two wide receivers are Devontae Adams and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I feel Jackson Smith was a little underrated. He fell very far in our draft because I just don't think people really value what he is yet. But you seeing what Sam Darnold did last year with Jettas and what Jordan Addison did, he's clearly the number one in Seattle. And for Jackson Smith to drop that far, that could be a steal of the draft. I can't say
Yeah,
that.
I want to say it was either this draft or a different one where I think you might have been like a couple picks ahead of me and you picked him, and I was gonna go for him in the same round. But
Okay.
I was able to snag Jaden Daniels for my quarterback. I'm not the biggest like Jaden Daniels fan per se, but I appreciate his value and I think he's a really good fantasy quarterback for sure. Devon A. Chan and Travion Henderson are my top two running backs. Although I drafted what's his name? Jaden Blue from the Cowboys, who's a rookie. He's on my bench. Quinshawn Judkins auto drafted onto my bench as well. And I have Cam Scattaboo on my bench. Last year I just drafted a bunch of rookies and I ended up winning the league because of all the rookies like Brian Thomas Jr., Chase Brown. I don't know if he was a rookie last year. He's either a rookie or a second year guy. I got JJ, Jamison Williams. I also have Tyler Warren and Roma Dunze as like my skill players. So yeah, I'm feeling good too. I don't think my team's nearly as good as it was last year, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so my second pick, I went with Josh Allen. I had to get him because I had the 10th pick, and I don't think he would have fell to me in the third round. But I had to get him. That was my guy. I got him in two drafts. So in the two leagues that I'm in, I had to get him because, uh, I mean, if you look at it, he's not just a fantasy quarterback. He's a running back too. He
Yeah.
vultures a lot of touchdowns by rushing. So if he's passing for two touchdowns and he runs in a third, that's a lot of points. So I'm like,
Yeah, I had Josh Allen last year, and I'm sad that I wasn't able to draft him this year.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get him in any of my leagues. I took Lamar over him in one league because I had the one pick, and the scoring is weird. So drafting a quarterback in the first round is standard in that league.
hmm
Um, in all my other leagues, everyone just got Josh Allen before I did because the second one person picked a quarterback, everyone picked a quarterback. That's just how it goes. I call it the QB panic.
Yeah, because you want to get that you want to get your quarterback. That's the key. You getting your quarterback will set you apart, depending on how good of a quarterback you got. You can fill out your roster with all kinds of wide receivers and running backs, but that's neither here nor there. We'll leave that for fantasy football talk, maybe one of these days and things like that. But we'll jump into our schedule that we have. So there's the schedule. There's the week one schedule. Um, you got the Raiders and Patriots. You know, that Thursday game right there at the top part, and that Thursday and Friday game, Thursday Cowboys versus Eagles and Chiefs versus Chargers on Friday. Um, we're gonna talk about that next pod because that's literally the day of. So
I
we're
mean,
gonna
we
save
got we got
those.
a lot of we got a lot of good games here. I mean,
Yeah.
even
So
like the lower tier games, I think Carolina and Jacksonville is going to be a really interesting matchup between those two teams.
I'm
Tampa and
look.
Atlanta is going to be fun specifically because it's a rivalry game, and last year they played each other really well. I don't know if you remember that Week 5 game between the two teams last year, where I forget who walked it off for I think it was for the Falcons. It might have been Drake London, but it was a really good game either way. Kirk Cousins had a huge outburst that game. Baltimore versus Buffalo might be probably is the game of the week, followed by Detroit and Green Bay. I think the Monday night game between the Bears and the Vikings is also going to be really fun to watch too.
I'm looking forward to that Steelers and Jets game a little bit. I want to see how Justin Fields looks and how Aaron Rodgers look. I'm not saying I'm gonna sit that. That might be the best game all morning. I'm not gonna lie to you. The
I
best
mean,
game
in
in
the
the
12
morning.
o'clock window, it those
Yeah,
games definitely aren't quite what the 425 games are. There's only a couple games here that I feel like are a definite like miss when it comes to scheduling. I Whoever plays against New Orleans this year, that's just going to be probably a boring game, I would think, just because New Orleans just is not a good team. There's not a lot of talent on that roster. And what the talent that they have besides like Chris Olave is aging already.
the one game I don't think no one cares about is that Raiders and Patriots game. Probably, I don't think no one really cares about that. Those two teams aren't supposed to be that good. Um,
Well, I would disagree on that specifically because Ashton Genty is going to be making his debut. So there's a storyline there. The Patriots, are they going to be good this year? Probably not, but they do have some guys that could make at least a little bit of noise and cause headaches for some of the better teams.
yeah,
I think they're still a year away, but they're definitely making steps in the right direction.
I would say overall game out of the week, out of the whole game, though, I think that is the lowest bar game because of team. The Dolphins. That's something that you're going to see a high level of offense with that game because you got Tyreek Hill playing in it, and then you got Jonathan Taylor for the Colts in it. So you're going to have some kind of offense in that game. And say what you want about this about the Saints. I mean, they still got Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara. So they're going to be trying to make a little threat, especially against the Cardinals team that are trying to figure out and try to show are they going to be worthy this season. So really, I think out of the game slate, probably the lowest bar game, and by default is the Raiders and Patriots. So
I think it's either that or I mean Giants Commanders is probably unless Russ is better than
yeah,
I
that's what I'm
think he's
saying.
going to
Like
be.
you got
I
Russ and
mean, he has
Neighbors,
Malik Neighbors to throw to, which I mean, you can basically just throw it up and he'll get to it. They have Cam Scatterboo now too, so their backfield might be improved a little bit.
and then don't
I
forget they
think
got
that Browns
Abdul
Bengals
Carter.
game, yeah, Abdul Carter on defense too. Yeah, I forgot to mention him, but
So that
I think that Broncos Titans game and the Browns Bengals games are not going to be particularly close. I think the Bengals are going to put that one away pretty early. That Browns team, there's just I don't know what they're trying to do with the quarterback position. I think Shador or Dylan Gabriel, there's a chance one of them is going to be starting by midseason. I just don't think Joe Flacco is the answer at the
he's
age of
not. He
40.
knows he's just there to be the veteran and take up the first
I
two
mean,
years.
that's fine, but I just don't think he should be the starter, and they should have had a more concrete plan on what they were going to do.
Right, right. But looking toward that Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens schedule, I mean, game is that's going to be something. I mean, that's like another AFC Championship preview. I think that's going to be an AFC Championship preview because I don't think the Chiefs are going to be. as good as they say they are, but they do have Patrick Mahomes, and um, they always seem to always be around. They always seem to just get there when you know that they're not that good because of Patrick Mahomes. But I
I
mean,
think I think at this point, the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes in particular is in the really good game manager phase of his career. You remember how Tom Brady was towards the end of his career, where he
yep,
just get wins. He might not have had the flashiest performances every week, which he did sometimes, but he knew how to win games and he knew how to control the clock, and he just became such a good game manager. If he's getting the ball with 2 minutes left, it doesn't matter if they have 7 points or 70. He's getting down the field and he's scoring.
yeah. So,
And for
but
that reason, I think some people are giving up on the Chiefs a little bit too easily just because of their pathetic performance in the Super Bowl. And that's fair because they did not play well whatsoever in that game. And they're deserving of they escaped by the skin of their teeth a lot last year, but I think some of that comes down to the fact that Mahomes is just so good at managing late game situations too. But going back to that Buffalo Baltimore game, who's at home for that? Is that the Bills? I'm assuming that is at home.
which one?
The Bills Baltimore game. If I'm reading this right, that would make sense.
You said which one starts? Who's the?
I think is Buffalo's at home, right?
Yeah, Buffalo's at home. Yep.
Man, that game's about as much of a toss up in my eyes as you could possibly have. I think talent wise, Baltimore has a bit of an advantage just because of how stacked both sides of the ball are for them, and I think the Bills aren't quite as stacked on defense as the Ravens are. But Josh Allen, you can never count him out, and they're in Buffalo, so the crowd's going to be crazy for Week 1. It's a huge game. Man, I don't know who I give the edge to in this one. I think I'm still gonna say Baltimore, but it's gonna be like a razor thin margin. Like it's gonna be like a 24-22 game or something like that.
True. So the one game I want to look at is that Monday game for the Bears and Vikings. I'm not sure what to expect out of that
I don't
because
know how to predict this one.
I don't know how to predict that one. Uh,
I don't know. Well, my thing is, I don't know what the Bears are gonna look like. That's like the wild card for me. I think the Vikings will be fine this year with JJ McCarthy. I know there's some people that are really low on them specifically because he's the starter. I don't think they're going to be a bad team at all. There's just too much talent on that roster for them not to be good, especially with the skill position players. Once Addison comes back, too, man, that offense is going to be in business. But I mean, the wild card is Chicago. I just don't know how good Chicago is going to be because they were so close to being an above average team last year, but they found ways to lose. And they say good teams find ways to win and bad teams find ways to lose. And unfortunately for Chicago, the Bears found ways to lose last year. And that it's tough because they have a new head coach this year, whole new system. It's a lot more complex. Ben Johnson comes from the Dan Campbell tree, which means he's got elephant balls. So he's probably going to be going for a lot of fourth downs, a lot of creative play calls, I would think. So if nothing else, it's probably going to be a really fun game to watch.
gotcha. Yeah. Um, so let's pick scores, starting with the Raiders and the Patriots.
I got New England 20,
Well, I ain't
Raiders
gonna say pick
17.
scores. Just say who's gonna win. Rather, my bad.
I got New England by 3.
I got.
I don't think New England is going to be bad at all this year. I want to put that out there.
I just don't know how he's gonna look with the new offensive scheme. If it was last year, I would pick the Patriots, but I'm not sure how he looks, and I haven't really seen too much footage on training camp with him. So I'm probably
Drake
gonna
May's not a
go.
very notable quarterback. Like he hasn't he's not a guy that's going to make headlines, but he wasn't bad last year either.
Um, I'm gonna just take the Raiders. Um, I'll take the Raiders in that one. Dolphins, Colts,
I
Dolphins.
got my I got Miami.
Yeah.
I don't like Indy at all this year. I mean, they're a quarterback away from being at least even in contention in my eyes. Like they're okay.
Giants,
And
Commanders. Go ahead.
I got commies.
Commanders, yeah. Bengals, obviously Bengals.
Yeah, Bengals.
Browns,
That's
Bengals.
not even really a question.
Titans, Broncos, obviously Broncos.
Broncos.
We go Lions and Packers.
I think I'm gonna have to go Detroit here
Yeah,
specifically because Green Bay in week one, with the exception of the year they played against Chicago, is not known to be they're always pretty loose in week one, and that's not loose in a bad way. A lot of false starts, a lot of holdings, a lot of easy mistakes that need to be tightened up. And I think that it's not going to be any different this year. I got Detroit just for that reason. I think Parsons might even struggle a little bit just because it's the first ever game in a new system for him. So I think Detroit's going to take it by maybe 7, if I had to guess.
Steelers, Jets. Steelers.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know
don't
how
really know
Justin
how to
Fields
feel
look.
about either of those teams either.
I don't know how the Jets look yet with Justin Fields. I want to say Justin Fields is going to win that game, but I think Steelers are going to win it because they already got a quarterback that we know what looks like.
Yeah. I
Cardinals,
mean,
Saints.
Pittsburgh's defense is so good too, so that's another thing. There's so much talent on that defense. But yeah, I got Cardinals in this one.
Cardinals, obviously. Panthers, Jaguars. That's a good one.
Now, this is going to be a fun one.
I'm going to take the Jags.
I think I'm with you, but it's going to be I think this game is pretty much a toss up. These
It's a
are
toss up.
two teams that have the potential. I think Jacksonville more so than Carolina this year, but both have the potential to make some noise.
Oh, yeah. Just because I think Travis Hunter is going to be an impact in that game, especially his first week. I think he's going to be a real impact. Buccaneers, Falcons. I'm taking the Bucks.
Yeah.
49ers and Seahawks. I'm taking the Seahawks in that one.
I got the Niners. I think some people are sleeping too hard on the Niners this year. I think they're going to be not quite back to what they used to be in terms of 13-3, but I think they're good enough to be a playoff team this year.
All right. Texans and Rams. I'm going to take the Texans.
I got the Rams here as long as Stafford is healthy. That's the key is if Matthew Stafford is injured or out, I got to go with Houston. But if not, I think there's two really good receivers on that team and a darn good running back that are going to carry them to the victory.
Ravens and Bills. Now, this is the hardest game of the week.
I shared that I still think Baltimore is gonna eke it out.
I would pick Baltimore if they were at home this year, like they were when they were playing a divisional round. But I'm gonna take the Bills because they're at home. Just because they're at home.
I mean, that's fair. I'm not gonna fault you for taking one way or the other on this one because
And
both
then
sides have a
we know
case.
Nazir probably go crazy, so he would go crazy. But the Vikings and the Bears.
This I think is the hardest one to predict of all of them.
Mm.
This one or maybe Pittsburgh and New York. I think that's another tough one to predict. And then obviously Green Bay, Detroit. But I think I'm gonna go Minnesota by a field goal in this game, but it's gonna be really close the whole way.
I don't want to. Wow. I just think Minnesota's better than the Bears right now. I don't know how Caleb Williams looks with Ben Johnson. We've seen flashes of what he did in preseason, but that's preseason.
I mean, yeah, preseason is preseason. The 0-16 Lions were 3-0 in preseason.
Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Vikings in this one. I just don't know if the Bears are there yet. Yes, there's a lot to look forward to. Yes, we are happy to see what we got with Ben Johnson, but I just don't see a lot of. I just don't see what yet. We don't know how it looks.
I
So
mean,
once
the
we,
thing about Chicago is too, they got a lot of their core locked down for a couple years.
yeah, so we'll.
So a lot of these guys are going to be around next year and the year after that. So this year doesn't have to be the year, I guess, for the Bears. If it is for them, good for them. But it doesn't have to be because a lot of these guys are still going to be around for at least 1 or 2 more years.